I already know y'all gonna jump. Y'all gonna jump down my throat for this one. I know that. I I know. When when I initially recorded myself, when I initially recorded a video on why I no longer read oracle cards and tarot cards, I left it alone at that. You know what I mean? I didn't record any other videos on it. I was just letting you guys know why I no longer did it. And that's not something that I view as bad. I don't view that as bad, not even to this day. I don't view it as anything being wrong with it, or, oh, that's the devil's work, that's this, that's that. People used to tell me that all the time, and I used to be like, stop talking to me. Like, how? How is this the devil's work when my foundation is God? What are you talking about? I'm talking about spirit, and I'm speaking on angels, and I'm speaking on God and spirit guides and ancestors, all positive things. And then I will also say it's not what you do, but how you do it. And over a week ago, I was talking to my husband, and I forgot what I was looking. Okay. I know what I was looking up in the Bible. I'm looking at my notes because these are over a week ago. But oh yeah, I was studying Job. I was studying the book of Job, and it was speaking on how the Chaldeans took his bands and his cattle. So, you know, we from the hood, that's money. He took his money and he took his animals. And I'm like, the Chaldeans, who are they? So I went looking the Chaldeans up, and the Chaldeans were astrologists. They were individuals that studied math and were very skilled in writing. They studied the moon, they studied the stars, they studied, you know, they were astrologists. They studied these things. And I'm like, dang, like the spiritual folks done took Joe money. I'm like, nah, that's messed up. Then, you know, this is just how I'm chopping it up. I'm like, that's messed up. So it went from that to me going into divinity, and then it went from me going into divinity by looking up certain divination tools that you can use, because I was going to speak on those things in a video. So I was reading something on this website where they was like it really threw me for a loop. They was like they was like pendulums and tarot cards, oracle cards, all of that falls under divination. And then it started saying crystals, sage, essential oils. I'm like, see, and this is how I'm talking to myself. I'm like, this is the reason I'm more spiritual than religious. This is why I classify myself as spiritual, because it's certain stuff that I just don't agree with. It's certain things I don't agree with. Then I read it and it said numerology. I said, okay, let me just get off this website, because I'm not agreeing with it. I don't agree that that's not something. I just don't. I don't to this day. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see nothing wrong with numerology. I don't. I don't, right? And so you guys are gonna see me looking down, because I'm looking at my notes from over a week ago. So as you can see, I have things written everywhere on the front and the back, and it may seem out of line, but I'm gonna make it make sense. But I'm telling you know, I'm just thinking, right? I'm really thinking on how someone can consider these things as bad. I'm not trying to be closed-minded. I'll open myself up to views from other individuals just to see. I wonder what makes them feel that way, right? So I'm like, Lord, even when I was doing that, I thought about this vision that I had in when I was in my season of doing tarot readings. You know, I had this vision where I seen a shop. It was like a metaphysical shop. And that's when I told myself, I'm going to open me up a metaphysical shop. This had to be in 2000, like this is 22, 21, 2020. 2020, I told myself I was going to open me up a metaphysical shop. And I said if anybody had wanted readings, I would provide them in the back. But I was going to sell crystals, incense, sage, homemade decks. I wasn't going to get like decks from wholesale from other people. I was creating decks back then. So I was just going to bulk up on my own creations of what I was doing. And that's something that had happened. And you guys, I had so many decks. I had so many decks where I didn't have room to put them. My table was full of decks. On my windowsill was full of decks. I went and got one of those plastic 2 or 3 drawer bins from Walmart and set it by my table, and those drawers would fill with decks. On top of that drawer was filled with decks. I had them everywhere. So I got locked up. Of course, I lost everything: decks, animals, cars, clothes, everything you could think of. I lost it. And I remember getting out of jail, and somebody said what I would consider something ignorant to me and said, yeah, sis, you might not know why you got locked up, but you got locked up because you was doing something that God don't approve of. And whenever I heard that from people, I just looked at them as ignorant. You sound stupid. That's the first, that's just where my mind take me. You can't tell me that, bruh, because I'm doing the right thing. My foundation is God. My foundation is bringing light to people. My foundation is bringing healing to people. So what you're saying is not resonating with me. You don't know me. Stop acting like you do. Take your religious self over there, because I'm not that. Let me be who I am. That's the mentality, that's you get what I'm saying? That was me, right? So I'm thinking about that vision that I had. And so I'm about to give you guys the dialogue that my husband was having with me. All right. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking to God, right? I'm talking out loud. Like I'm talking out loud like he's sitting right next to me. And I'm just like, the vision was mine. I'm like, okay, no, hold on. Where is it? Okay, this is where it started. Okay, so on this page, I actually labeled it My Thoughts, God's Answer. All right. My thoughts, and then you'll see where he answered it. So this is what I'm saying to myself. I'm like, my thoughts. I can't say it wasn't a God-sent vision. I don't know what made that vision of that vision I used to have of that metaphysical shop come back up that day, because I completely forgot about it. That's been years ago. It completely left my mind. Okay, so I'm thinking about that metaphysical vision I had, and I'm like, I can't say it wasn't a God sent vision, because it was about God, and I received the vision. Like, I received the vision. So that would just make it sound confusing to say it's not God sent, right? And then my other thought, unless he gave me the ungodly vision in my ungodly season, my thought. But that season wasn't ungodly. It was about him. God's question that he asked me, were you standing on my tributes? My answer, no. God's answer, for that reason, it was an ungodly season. Before I break that down, let me go to my next dialogue. Okay? My next dialogue is with the Babylonian priests. All right? The Babylonians in the Bible applied themselves to figuring out a system to interpret the phenomena of heaven. And they did that by observing the moon and the planets and the stars. They did that by observing that, right? Once I figured that out, I'm still telling God, and it's on this paper, I'm still telling God, at this point I'm telling God I see nothing wrong with it. Like, this is just what I'm saying to him. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't see I'm not seeing it. Like, I'm really not. It's not clicking in me at all. I mean, I just can't make it make sense, right? So then he said to me, I am too big for those methods in which you are using. It prevents you from knowing me closely. You seek more confirmation and clarity in things and objects more than him. And you know what that is? An idol. That's the definition of an idol in the Bible. And then it came to me as well. Oh, and after I said idol, I heard within myself, and for that reason they are forbade. They're forbidden because of that reason. It's not that they're not accurate. It's not that you can't find answers in them. That's not the case. It's that eventually, over time, we seek more clarity out of those tools than out of the Lord. And I know that firsthand, right? And also, whatever we continuously go to or return to for clarity, answers, or confirmations, it is what give us our fix. It's like a crackhead going for crack. That is, you know what you're gonna get. You know the type of high you want. You know what you're gonna get. And so when it comes to us going to answers and clarity in the cards, we know these cards are gonna confirm it. Look what I just said. We know these cards are gonna confirm it. For that reason alone, that's why he don't want us dabbling into divination. We're gonna look more at the moon. We're gonna look more at the stars. And you know what happens when people do that? They actually deviate. We actually deviate from God. We might not notice it, but it starts from fully believing into him to saying we don't believe in a particular God, but we believe in the universe. The universe is space and time. The universe is stars, moon, space, time, space and opportunity. It's all of those things. Our confidence goes into that. And so that's when we say to ourselves, I'm more spiritual than religious. Because I'm drawn to the moon. Naturally, I'm drawn to stars. Naturally, astrology is in me. That's who I am. I have Chaldeans in my blood. I have Babylons in my blood. And that's not the issue. That's not a problem. The problem is I keep going to it for clarity instead of going to God. And I didn't realize that at first. Excuse me. I didn't realize it at first. So even if you all go, and this has to be at least 3 months ago. If you all go and watch my video 3 months ago on why I stopped tarot, in that video, I did say once I stopped doing it, the Lord told me to go on Facebook and prophesy. And I was scared. This is what I'm telling y'all in my video. I was scared. And I couldn't understand why I was scared to prophesy when that has always been my natural gift. Since I was a little girl, that has always been my natural gift. And I was sitting there asking God while I was sitting at the park, Lord, why am I scared when this is who I am? And that's when I realized that tarot cards had slowly pulled me away from that confidence I had within myself. I didn't even see it. I'm telling y'all, the whole time I was doing it, I didn't see it. I was just looking at it like I still had my gift because, well, you guys aren't able to go back and watch any of my videos unless, you know, I have sent you some to your phone when I was using cards, but I deleted the videos off my IG. I deleted the videos off my YouTube because I wasn't trying to build on top of a foundation that is no longer for me. So you guys might not be able to see any of my videos, but if you are able to, like if you have any saved in your phone or whatever, you will see that before I used the cards, I was already talking. I was already prophesying. I was already relaying what I hear. And then I would say, okay, spirit guides, what do you have? You know, what do you want to say? And the cards will always confirm what I had already spoken on. So because I was still able to hear and speak before I touched the cards, I didn't know I moved away from it. I thought I was still there. I thought everything was still good. I didn't even see it. That's scary for me because I didn't see it. How didn't I catch that? How didn't I catch that? And looking back on it too, it went from me actually fellowshipping with God, like one-on-one, to me using the cards talking to my spirit guides. Like you might not understand what I'm saying, but it went from me like, Lord, I love you, thank you for this, thank you for that, and just talking to him and hearing him talk to me. It went from that to, even if I'm getting up in the morning and the kids still sleep, I got my notebook with me, and the first thing I'm doing is grabbing my cards and I'm shuffling my cards and I'm saying, spirit guides, what you got for me? Your spirit guides are not you fellowshipping. That's not you fellowshipping with God. That's you speaking to your spiritual team, your ancestors, the celestial beings that intercede on your behalf. But that's not directly communicating with God. And a lot of people, if you pay attention, don't start off by saying, Lord, what do you have for me? God, what do you have for me? They say, spirit guides. Spirit guides, what do you have for me? Now, there are some that do say, excuse me, there are some that do say, Lord, what do you have for me? Lord, what do you have for them? Lord, what do you want to say for them? What do you want to say to them? There are individuals that say that because at one point in time, I said it. It's just, things are closely intertwined with each other. And so I'm going to make a different video about sage, but I will include part of it in this. My spirit is like, no, wait on that. My next video will be about sage. I'm not going to include it in this one. My next video will be about sage. But yeah, you guys, for that reason, because eventually, and mark my word, because I've been there, eventually you will go to them cards first. When you're using cards, people rarely pick up their Bible first. You may have at some point in time. Once the cards come into play, eventually that Bible get placed to the side. Even if you quote in scriptures in your readings, that's not the same thing as picking up that Bible and fellowshipping with God. It turns to being about the cards. That's why he don't want us doing it. That's why people say, oh, it's from the devil, and that's the devil's word. That's witchcraft. That's what I'm trying to say. People say that's witchcraft. That's witchcraft. I personally refer to witchcraft as dark magic, black magic. That's what I equate to witchcraft. And so if I'm not practicing black magic, I'm not doing no witchcraft. Even now, I won't accept somebody telling me that, just because in this season of my life, my mind is not there. I'm not sure if I will ever equate that to that. But I'm saying at this point in my life right now, I don't look at it like that. I don't. Whatever you put in the place of God is an idol. And he don't want us having any type of idol. When it comes to using cards, don't seek clarity in it. Like if you want an answer, it's a natural instinct to go to the cards, because it's gonna fall out. It's going to fall out. You got to understand there are other entities that operate as well. We're not just dealing with beings of light when we're operating in divination, because that's what it is. That's what it boils down to. We're not operating just out of light while doing that. You guys may not understand that. Some do. That's why some keep black tourmaline on their desk. I know I stayed with black tourmaline. I think I had it so much in my purse, it began to fall out all over the house, just pieces everywhere. I would keep black tourmaline on my desk. I would keep salt in certain corners, because I knew I had to protect myself. Or I would envision a white ring of light around me to protect myself. You got to understand, the portal is open. When we're doing that, we have opened the spiritual portal. There is no distinguishing between light and darkness. What I mean by that is you have opened the door for both. You have opened the door for both lights. You have opened the door for the beacon of light, and you have opened the door for the beacon of darkness. Those are open. I remember when I was younger, I used to smoke every day. And I kept it real with my grandma. Like, I didn't like to lie to her about that. And she used to be like, Alicia, next you're going to end up on crack. And I used to be like, what? Like, why would you say that? Like, that would make me think she was negative. Like, why are you being negative? Why would you say that? Why would you put that on me? And she used to say that's a gateway drug for other drugs. And so I understand now what she means by that. One door opens the door to something else. If a person starts to use sage, I can guarantee you over time they'll use crystals. If a person is using sage and crystals, they'll be interested in getting a reading. If a person is using sage and crystals and have had a reading by an accurate reader where everything is on point, they will then be interested in how it operates, how you do it. So then it goes from that to them learning it themselves. Then it goes from that to doing it for other people. That sage door opens every other spiritual door. Once one spiritual door open, all spiritual doors open. And even looking back when it come to drugs, I used to be like, I would never do that. I would be kicking it with my cousins and stuff, and they'll be like, you want some coke? And I used to be like, I will never do that. Like, I used to be scared of that. I would never do pills. I used to be scared of that. It was just weed and cigarettes. That's it. And then it went from weed and cigarettes and drinking. Then it went from weed, cigarettes, drinking, and pills. Then it went from weed, cigarettes, drinking, pills, and coke. You get where I'm going with this? One door is going to open all the other doors. So in the midst of me telling... when my husband was talking to me, and I wrote on this paper too, I wrote, because this is a thought that came to my mind. I wrote, they gonna shun me for this, and I'm gonna become a target. And you know what God told me? God said, you're already one. I was scared to speak on this because I know the community gonna come after me. I know that. I did not want to become a target. And when he told me I already was one, I think I cried. I think I sat here on the couch I'm on now, and I honestly think I cried because he was right. I am a target. You want to know why I'm a target? Because I'm walking in truth. And we live in a world that shuns truth. People want to hear truth to the extent they can handle it, or to the extent where it doesn't make them uncomfortable. Long as you go against those things, you will always be a target. And I accept that within myself. I accept that I am a target. And I'm okay with it. And I'm not scared of it anymore. I embrace who I am fully. So when it comes to tarot cards, oracle cards, pendulums, crystals, we're seeking protection and clarity in those things more. And I'm not going to force you to see it. You'll have your time where it makes sense to you. But even with you hearing this now, at least with me breaking it down like that for you, at least you can understand why certain people may say what they say. That way you don't have to hold it against them. This is all about freedom. You don't have to hold it against them. Now you can see, okay, I see why my brother said that. Okay, I see why that church member said that. Okay, I see why my neighbor said that. Okay, I see why my mom said that. Okay, I see why my dad said that. Okay, I see why my godmother said that. This is why they said it. So instead of you being upset with them or feeling like they don't understand, they can look at you like you're not understanding. But at least you're knowledgeable now in both of those areas. I want you to try doing something. I'm going to give you a task. And if you make it to the end of this video, please comment I made it with an exclamation mark. Because that lets me know someone is about to attempt to try this task I am about to give. The task that you have for the next 2 days, 3 days, my apologies. The task you're being given for the next 3 days is to not use the cards. Strictly go off the messages you hear within yourself. If you hear any. Don't look for confirmations. And don't look for clarities. There's an owl on the TV that just popped up, you guys. Let me see if I could turn it. I can't flip my camera. Can you guys see that? Look at that owl. That came right on point. The owl is all about intuition, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.